We would like for the people in PAAM to confront the issues of racism right here in this room amongst the different people who are represented, the different racial and ethnic groups that are represented right here. All of us are sitting here together, being friends, but simmering underneath there are some tensions and difficulties that have deep historical roots. And rather than glossing over that, we would like to shine the light on those so that we can be stronger and more unified in the end. So that was one. The other is we got to talking about the other kinds of tensions within our churches around the intergenerational and how some of us maybe have been dealing with this for over 100 years, others maybe more recently. And one suggestion was to come up with some case studies perhaps of some specific local congregations who have been dealing with the intergenerational, intercultural, interracial, interethnic, different cultures even from the same country who are coming together, and how do we work these through? Because until we can start to look at some of these issues, then, well, we need to do that before we can even look at the whole broader picture.
We embrace everyone, black and white,
Everyone is welcome.
Everyone is welcomed and they feel welcomed in our church. They do. Yeah. They feel welcomed.
You cannot just stop marching. When we were singing that song, I felt like let's just keep on marching and swinging. It's wonderful. People of God, God has chosen you, each one of you, as a light to the nations. You have been specially chosen, not by accident, but by design. You have a covenant with God, an agreement with God. You have been given the Spirit, and in God's soul delights in you.
I think if PAAM can model the diversity that's already present in the group for the rest of the church, that will be a great gift to the denomination.
I have passion for PAAM. I have learned to love PAAM. And what I would like to see that PAAM should be intentionally inclusive of the different racial, ethnic groups, not only within the PAAM, not only within the Asian and the Pacific Islander groupings, but all other races. I would consider this time that that we can reach out to more Asian and Pacific groups and be able to strengthen ourselves that way.
When we see each other, even though we don't know each other, but we embrace and share our love and our culture. That when I came here, I thought I expect to see the same atmosphere, in the friendship and love that we share. And hopefully we could share. I could bring some idea from what I learned in the other group, so we could practice or share with the member of the PAAM, so they could take it out and share with their churches, so we could break the barrier, in our church.
I belong to the Angeles Island.
Yeah.
Okay, last night I was talking to some of your sisters in your church. You have to open it up a little.
How many of you have heard of kimchi? Anyone here? Every time I had some kimchi, I saw the light. It was so try some if you haven't. I guarantee you might see the light.
To experience the culture of the other, this is in an individual church setting. Meaning to say you don't just taste the food and enjoy the dances or the songs of a culture, but also to experience the culture. To be inclusive in the invitation of guests, and this was shared by somebody whose predominant church members are Chinese, and they are kind of afraid of inviting other ethnic ethnic group besides Chinese because they might feel discriminated. Number 3, that we become aware of our own racism, and I am guilty of that as well. Number 4, allow time for friendship building in local setting as well as in national gathering like this. And I think this is very, very important. Number 5, more involvement in the community outreach. One member of our group had emphasized that worship ends, service begins in the church, and they want the goodness of the church members to be extended to the outside circle of the church as well.
I think PAAM is it should be, if it's not already, an integral part of the UCC because we have such a wealth of culture and identity and perspectives to offer to the UCC as a whole church. And I think from what I know, the UCC seems to be embracing this idea, and I think that's an important move on its part because it is going to make it a multicultural and multiracial church. And that's the vision I see for the UCC through PAAM.
Through this conference, I feel is just even the experiences of different light from the nations, like as all the nation, all the ethnicities presented about how they're light, and just especially to see the Marshallese and the Samoans cultures explain how the gospel was brought into their communities. That's especially powerful for me to see the way that God is working through different communities and building up those churches in that community. And I think that I'll definitely take back to even my friends back at school and just my church and things like that. And just as well as how the church is, trying to form leadership and, build up those kind of things. So.
Yeah, we are serving outside of the local church membership. This way, the feeding the hungry are outside of the church, the members of the church. We are talking about people as a church. We are not serving our own, just our own people. So it takes, I think the term church is getting interchangeably used.
I'm very impressed with the multicultural worship experiences that we have, and I think this brings healing.
Different spirit.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah. How does that bring healing?
It brings healing because it brings me a new friend. It brings me closer to understanding what you're doing. Yes, and we don't do this so much in our churches. We worship with the same people, and we don't have this multicultural motivation. I think that's a healing that has happened to me as I came to this conference.
It's a learning experience. Yeah.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Okay, so what?
So our ritual in sort of
worship
ritual kind of bring about the community, sense of community in the camp, and I think that is a healing process.
Seeing each ethnic group worshiping in the way they do it at home helps us to respect and appreciate every ethnic group in their own setting. She's saying that if we just continue doing what we're doing,
instead of talking,
doing. Here we go.
Okay. It simply means talk less and act more. That's what it is. Talk less and act more.
With no strings attached.
Yeah.
Without any
That's without any
expectations.
With no strings attached.
Right?
Yeah.
Penny? So I'm going to put down talk less and act more.
With no strings attached.
No strings attached.
Part of the strength of PAAM exists in the capacity to be able to bridge the divides and demonstrate to the UCC how that can happen. I think the other thing that PAAM can give to the UCC is the gift of itself and the growth potential within the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities.